Okie dokie, I believe we're all the way live. Hello and welcome to my graveyard. I'm your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names, kicking candy ass, live and in living color here with you only on Grande's Graveyard. And yes, ladies and gents, we are here. We are back. We are better than ever. And tonight we celebrate the greatest hedgehog that ever lived. I am talking to people here tonight about the trilogy of Sonic the Hedgehog. Yes, Sonic the Hedgehog Trilogy review here tonight only on Grande's Graveyard. I'm very excited to have you all in the house. Of course, this was the first of two show request reviews, of course, for the contest when we did Grande's Graveyard 300. The first winner, he didn't want the money. I said to you guys, some people don't want the money. Some people want to pick their own graveyard. And this is one of them times where I'm not going to be talking about horror movies tonight. Tonight, I'll be talking about everyone's favorite blue hedgehog, Sonic. Yes, and of course, that was requested and won by the legendary Antman525, the man of the hour, the man with two power, too sweet to be sour. Oh, yeah, the Antman525. Welcome, my friend. It's his birthday tomorrow. So I want everybody in the chat to throw Anthony the biggest, happiest birthdays that you can give him. Of course, Anthony is going to be chilling like a villain. I know he's got finals coming up. So, Anthony, we wish you the best and we wish you luck on that. But, dude, I'm so happy we could do this for you, an early birthday gift only on the graveyard. So I'm very excited to have you in the house, man. Thank you for requesting this show and for, of course, participating in the Grande's Graveyard 300th giveaway. Miss C is here. Ciao, Grande and Graveyardian friends. Welcome, Miss C. Hope all is well with you. We got Haddonfield mascot, good brother John. What's up? I should have ate some chili dogs before this. Dude, that would have been optimal for sure. Of course, Sonic loves his chili dogs. I hope everyone's well tonight. Still Sonic. Anyone in their right minds would be doing GTA 6 trailer breakdowns. Well, GTA 6, man, I'll probably be in my 30s by the time GTA 6 drops, so I ain't going to hold my breath for that son of a bitch. But we will see. We will see when that happens. GTA coming soon, 2035. Exactly. Don't hold your breath, because if you do, you might I can hold my breath for a long time. You can't hold it that long. I don't think anybody can hold it till 2035. Just don't hold your breath on GTA 2035. As Ryan Hanley's in the house. Welcome, Ryan. Hope all is well with you. Slasher Fred is in the house. As Sonic would say in the 90s cartoon series, Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, I'm waiting. Well, you don't have to wait any longer, my friend. Sonic is in the heezy. The second GTA trailer honestly surprised me a little. I actually haven't seen the trailer. I'm in Ryan's boat where I'm like, I'll believe it when I see it. Like, give me the release date and stick with it. Set it in stone, write it in stone. Then I'm with you. Until then, you're not getting my hopes up no more. I'm honestly really excited. Wasn't a big fan of 5. Looks sweet. Looks too sweet. Too sweet. We got Texas in the house. THC 1965. Tex was watching Mulholland Drive last night with Cinephile World Order. So that was really cool. Welcome, Tex. Hope all is well with you. Nice shirt. I was watching Creep Show last night. Yeah, I'm rocking it. The old Chief Woodenhead on the graveyard here tonight. I didn't have any Sonic shirts, but I've got some cool Sonic things, and I'm going to show you guys. Thanks so much, bro. Dude, anytime. Thank you so much. I do appreciate your time and, all the kindness you've shown me in the show. It was really nice of you. Lucky for you, I didn't win. You'd probably hate my movie choices. Yeah, I had some people telling me, I had one person tell me they would have had me review pornography. I had one person I'm like, geez, thank God some of these people didn't win. Like, I don't know why, what the pleasure of that would be other than to get a good laugh at my expense. Hell yeah, happy birthday. People wishing Anthony happy birthday. Thank you all. Dude, absolutely, man. Happy birthday to you. Here on time for the first time in ages. Welcome, James Abernathy, all the way from the UK. I was telling you guys, of course, no horror tonight. We're talking about Sonic the Hedgehog. And I figure instead of starting with the movies like we usually do, I figure we go back. Let's take a stroll down memory lane. Let's put our Sonic red sneakers on. Let's walk down memory lane. And, of course, I could show you guys a little bit of how big of a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog that I am. Of course, first and foremost, I'm wearing the Sonic socks on Grande's Graveyard. I've got 2 different ones here. But we got Sonic the Hedgehog socks in this son of a bitch. Of course, the introduction that I had to Sonic the Hedgehog was not the Sega Genesis games. It was not Sonic Adventure 1 or 2. It was this little game right here for the PlayStation 2. This was the very first exposure I ever had to Sonic the Hedgehog when I would have been at the ripe old age of about 7 or 8 years old when this game came out. Talk about Sonic Heroes. Yes, Sonic Heroes was my introduction. I still have the old tag from, I think, I want to say a GameStop, or this might have been from a closing down Hollywood video or something like that. I still have this game 20 plus years later, Sonic the Hedgehog, of course, in Sonic Heroes. And I loved this. This was such a fun game as a kid. I know looking back now, the control is not the greatest in the world, but compared to what would come down the road with Shadow the Hedgehog, with the gun on the cover, and of course Sonic 06, which is one of the worst games of all time, Sonic Heroes looks a lot better in that company. Of course, the classic Sonic Heroes, Sonic Heroes. Love that song, love the intro, just absolutely iconic. And of course, I would be remiss not to mention my fandom, of course, of I'm not a big ice cream guy, not a big ice cream guy at all. But when I do, it's not Dos Equis. No, when I do, it's Sonic the Bloody Hedgehog. Yes, we've got a Sonic the Hedgehog ice cream bar in this son of a bitch. And I figure we pop it open to cheers to Anthony's happiest birthday. So everybody, I don't know if you're drinking anything along with the show. I don't know if you got any ice cream or chili dogs or what have you. But I say I ran down, chased the ice cream man for this today. I figure we open this son of a bitch only on the graveyard as we celebrate Sonic the Hedgehog and, of course, Antman525's birthday tomorrow. So everybody, cheers. This is a different type of cheers. I don't know what's going to happen here. This could be an absolute disaster. So what I've done, I brought a bowl. I don't know how this ice cream bar held up in the car on the drive home. I kept the car icy cool with the air condition, but I don't know if Sonic's going to be disfigured or what's going to happen. So we're going to see right here and now. And oh my God, Sonic, what'd they do to you? What the fuck happened to Sonic, man? Sonic got deformed, man. There's Sonic's eye, his gumball eye, not the gumdrop buttons. Sonic is fucking melted on my ass. Oh, Jesus Christ. But you know what? It's still edible. It's still edible, guys. So everybody, cheers to you. Cheers to Sonic. See, it might be deformed, though he's still delicious. It's the blue raspberry that just takes it all the way home. But yeah, no, poor Sonic's face. This is just a sad moment as he's melting into my hand. So, oh my God. I'm happy I bought the bowl. I'll put it to you that way. Because Sonic is already melting on Grande's graveyard. Can't beat this. This is, granted, I've had better Sonic the Hedgehog ice cream cones in my life, and now my hands are going to be sticky Sonic blue raspberry for the rest of the show. But why the hell not? This is a celebration. I look at this as a night off, you know? We're just going to talk about Sonic the Hedgehog, laugh and giggle our motherfucking asses off. But yeah, no, this poor bastard, he looks like fucking deformed. He looks like what's the movie with Scarlett Johansson, the A24 movie, where she hits up that fucking deformed guy at one point. That's what this looks like, but if it was Sonic, poor Sonic. Oh, man. He is delicious, though. I don't want to sit here the whole time and waste your time. But, all right, I'm going to power through this. Here we go. Oh, I got a gumball. Hold on. Can't be chewing gum on the graveyard. Come on. Oh, my God. This is fucking good, though. All right. I apologize. Now, my tongue is now razzle blue for only you. Those types of bars always look deformed. TMNT bars as a kid look more like toads. Yeah, that's what happens, unfortunately. More like toads. Yeah, no, OMG. Yeah, no, I busted out all the stops for you, buddy. Cheers with my Deep Park. What, do you got Deer Park? I got Pure Life. Okay, I'm boring. I'm just boring. I got to take one more bite of this. I'm sorry. This is just too good to be true. Oh, man. Can't beat it. You can't beat it. Let's go. Joe Mama's in the house. What's going on, Joe Mama? Hope all is well with you. Hell yeah. Hopefully Sonic's eyes are not misplaced. Yeah, no, they're fucking, Sonic's eye was like in his brain or something. So unfortunately, that happens sometimes when the freaking things start to melt. Under the Skin was the movie, by the way. That's right. That's right. What's up, Graveyard fam? Love those Sonic movies. Can't wait to hear your thoughts. Thank you, Merns. We just popped open a Sonic the Hedgehog ice cream bar that was deformed, and now it's eaten. Now it's in my stomach, unfortunately. But you can't beat it. You absolutely can't beat it. So I figured we get underway with this son of a bitch. What about you? I don't know. So I guess we will take it back to all the way to 1993, right? That was the first time that any studio had interest in making comic book movies. Of course, that was the year that the Super Mario Brothers movie came out, for better or for worse, whether you like it or you don't. Of course, Street Fighter was the following year with JCVD, and those movies did not do well. They didn't draw, and hence that's a big reason why they held back on a Sonic the Hedgehog movie. They were like, listen, Mario didn't draw no money. Street Fighter with JCVD didn't draw no goddamn money, so we're not making our Sonic the Hedgehog movie. You can keep making your little games on the Sega Genesis, and those games were great. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 in particular, one of the great game covers of all time, probably my favorite Sega Genesis game when I did finally get to play it. Really liked that stuff. I thought that stuff was really good. Of course, Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic 3, all that stuff was really fun. And then, of course, it got into the consoles with Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Adventure 2. And Sonic was kind of moving on, but there was no ever real talks of a movie until you got to about late 2017, early 2018, where finally they were in talks of development of a Sonic the Hedgehog movie. And I was so excited at the time because I was like, this is so cool. Like, this is something I never thought that we would see. And, of course, with this particular movie, you've got to talk about the controversy that was the whole pre-production of this movie. Now, of course, when the movie got announced, everyone was sort of excited. There was a little bit of a buzz, and then they did the fateful thing. They dropped that trailer. Everybody remembers the trailer I'm talking about, and this was the trailer that everybody and their mother freaked out about in a bad way, unfortunately. So what happened was the trailer dropped, and we saw the initial design of Sonic the Hedgehog, which I guess we're going for a more realistic looking hedgehog, I guess as realistic blue hedgehogs go. That's what they were going for. They gave him very human-esque features with like giant calf muscles and things like that. It was really weird. And of course, the worst part of the design was the face. It just looked absolutely terrible. And of course, the cherry on top was that in the trailer, they played Gangsta's Paradise for a Sonic the Hedgehog movie. And I remember being like dumbfounded when this was going on. And I remember, I think I was in some kind of English class in college once the trailer dropped. I remember putting my headphones in, just like watching it. I remember watching it in like shock. I was like, what the fuck, man? Gangsta's Paradise? Why does Sonic look like an actual fucking human hedgehog hybrid? Why are his eyes looking like that? He looked terrible. It was truly looking like somebody fucked up on purpose. And of course, there was a huge outcry in the internet community. People were freaking out. What the fuck are you doing? Why is Sonic coming out to a fucking, Gangsta's Paradise song? And why does Sonic look like this? And everybody was losing their minds. And then they did something that, to me, you have to commend. And I'm one to always tell you how I feel, right? When I think something's bullshit, I'm the first person in line to tell you I think something's bullshit. But that does also mean that if I think somebody's done right, if I think someone's done morally well, if I think someone is deserving of said praise, I'm also the guy that's going to do that too. And to me, I think the filmmaker, Jeff Fowler, and his team are deserving of some praise. Jeff Fowler put out a tweet, and he said, listen, we've heard your gripes. We hear you're not happy with the designs. We're going to spend the money. We're going to go back, and we're going to fix it. And you need to give us some more time. We need to spend some more money, but we're going to get it right for you. And they went back, and they've tried to fix the effects of Sonic's terrible design and the whole calf muscles thing, and they gave him the white gloves. They made him look more like Sonic from the games, the classic Sonic the Hedgehog that we all grew up knowing to love, right? And I think that in a lot of ways gave this good karma, right? And like, to me, look at the history of this character, it's sort of cursed. We remember the fucking 1993. Okay, well, you're not going to get your movie because these other movies didn't do well. There's the infamous Thanksgiving Parade Day float of Sonic the Hedgehog that fucking popped in the middle of Times Square. There's, of course, Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, which was supposed to move Sonic into the next like console generation of Xbox 360s and PS3s of the world. And that game absolutely was an utter flop. It was so poorly reviewed that they had to go revert to the Nintendo Wii with Sonic and the Secret Rings, and they never really recovered until Sonic Generations. There was a part of me that was thinking, when this trailer dropped, is Sonic the Hedgehog a cursed character? What do we need to do? What needs to happen for this character to get the justice, the blue justice that it so rightfully deserves? And of course, I do think the thing that broke said curse was Jeff Fowler and his team realizing that they had done something wrong. The design was bad. And they said, you know what? I know it will cost money. I know it will cost time, but we're going to go back and we're going to fix it. And don't get me wrong. At the time, I was like, that's interesting. We still don't know if it's going to be a great movie, right? Because you could polish a turd, but if it's still shit, it's shit. And I will be honest with you. My initial thought going into the theater the night we went to go see it, and this was about a month before COVID hit, was this is not going to be the greatest movie in the world. Maybe Jim Carrey can save it. And I actually have a clip of myself and my good buddy Mark Murphy, who we've seen all the Sonic movies together. Me and Mark Murphy, one of my best friends. We went to go see all 3 Sonic movies in the theater. This one, we went on, I think it was the second night it was opened in an empty-ass theater, and we took this video. So I want to share this all with you guys because this is absolutely astounding little video here. The place is sold out for Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm here with the legendary Mark Murphy. Mark, what's going on, man?
All these ghosts are here to see the movie of the century.
It's filled with John Cena's.
I don't know how we're going to top Cats, but you know we got to do
it. the goodness, all right. The place is sold out. Well, it gets cut off there, but I said at one point the greatness of Jim Carrey will save this movie. That was my final prediction. And I asked Mark what his final prediction was at the time. And I remember he said, gotta go fast. And that was the whole, like, we were just standing there with popcorn and sodas. And we were, honestly, I was willing and open to roast it. I was like, we're not going to like this. I'm totally not going to like this. And we'll get into my review. I was pleasantly surprised. And I went, holy shit, they did it right. They absolutely got it right. They went back, they made the changes, they made it look right. And on top of that, it was actually a very good family-friendly action-adventure superhero movie where Sonic finally got his justice and thus the curse was broken. That's kind of how I felt. And again, another thing before I get into the actual review is you look at what was going on at the times of these movies coming out, right? The first Sonic the Hedgehog was right before, it was a month before COVID took over. I mean, I got laid off a few weeks after that little video there. I remember it. The world shut down after that. I mean, there was no going to movie theaters for a few years. You got to remember, like, that was one of the last movies I had seen in a movie theater for a while. There were discussions at times where I went, I wonder if that's the last movie I'll ever see at a cinema was Sonic the Hedgehog. You know, like, I swear to you, these are conversations that I had because we never knew if the movie theater was going to come back. I never knew. I sure for hell didn't know. But what also has to be discussed is a lot of people forget that Harley Quinn, the Harley Quinn movie, aka Birds of Prey, the fabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn, that came out around the same time. I believe it was just a few short days prior to Sonic. That came out and that didn't do well. And to this day, it's a discussion that nobody wants to have, but I do. I want to sit here tonight on Grande's Graveyard, live in living color here with you in honor of Anthony's B-Day and Sonic the Hedgehog. I want to have this conversation that no one wants to have. And that conversation is that Sonic the Hedgehog ran blue circles around Harley fucking Quinn. And it's something that kind of gets glossed over now because people obviously don't remember that at the time. But that, to me, is one of the glaring legacies of this particular movie. Now, I'll take you back another stroll down memory lane. I worked Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con in the Javits Center. I'm working there. I'm selling comics. It's a hot ass day. I'm taking pictures with people dressed like Snake Plissken. And I know there was a Static Shock there. It was a great day. It was a fun time. It's a good job to have is selling some comics at the Javits Center at Comic-Con. I'll never forget walking up to the Javits Center. And I saw the poster for Harley Quinn, and I was like looking at that. And then we got to the Comic-Con. Every female I saw, every other female I saw, the majority of females that I saw there were dressed like Harley Quinn. The whole outfit, the whole, fishnets and the bat and the shirt and all this stuff, the colors. I was like, holy shit, man, like this movie's going to be huge. Margot Robbie's a really good actor. It's going to be an absolute mega hit. They've been waiting for so long for Harley Quinn to get her movie. And I remember personally being scared for Sonic. Is this the next curse? Is this, well, you opened this good movie, but nobody went to go see it because they went to go see Harley Quinn. Wrong-o. Instead, one of the biggest female comic book icons, I dare say the biggest. I know Wonder Woman is big. Tell me that fucking Harley Quinn, it's got to be more relatable to women out there. There's definitely more goth comic chicks out there than there are ones that are going to relate to fucking Linda Carter's ass. Let's be honest. And no disrespect to Linda Carter, but it's the truth. Harley Quinn is more relatable. Harley Quinn is more cosplayed. Harley Quinn's more popular. Let's just be honest. The fact that movie got beaten by this fucking blue hedgehog, to me, is one of the most amazing things. It's the ninth wonder of the world. How did it happen? How did it happen? And there's a lot of things that go into that. I know the director of the Birds of Prey movie, she bitched about it for years. She's come up with every excuse in the book. I know people have said, well, it was the title grande, Birds of Prey. They should have just called it Harley Quinn instead of the fabulous emancipation of the one Harley Quinn, whatever the fuck they wanted to say. That was a big thing. That was a big controversy. Why didn't this draw? Why did this lose money? I know, obviously, the Harley Quinn movie was very much a female empowerment movie, and there's nothing wrong with a female empowerment movie, but they also shot themselves in the foot big time with the marketing. Now, of course, the Suicide Squad movie, the first one I'm talking about, not a good movie, but they knew how to market Margot. They knew that sex will draw. And they had her a little bit more revealing, a little bit more sleazy, something to draw someone in that otherwise wouldn't go. And of course, with the fabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey, aka whatever the fuck you want to call it, the movie that didn't make the money that they thought it was going to make, I think that was a huge, huge reason why. It was all of these giant factors that eventually combined as one big straw to break the camel's back. A movie like that should never have bombed. But it did. Female empowerment, you're not going to market it with her sex appeal. You're going to take away things like that. Of course, Sonic the Hedgehog is running around the corner. And of course, it set the world on fire. And to now, it's the point where this has become a billion-dollar trilogy. I'm sitting here to you tonight in Grande's Graveyard, talking about Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie, a little movie that nobody wanted to make in 1993. And because they waited, because they went back, because they made the fixes that they had to make, this has become a billion-dollar trilogy. It's incredible to think about it. It's incredible. It beat Harley Quinn. It's incredible. It went head to head with Mufasa in Sonic 3 and did almost $500 million. No matter which way you want to cut it. This is an incredible trilogy. Whether you like these movies or you don't. We're going to review them all here in just a short bit, but I think all that has to be said. It's really, really quite astounding when you look at this and all the worries going in and all the people poking fun. And even me being one of them, I was in that theater ready to roast this thing. I am happy to be wrong. I am so very happy to have been wrong and have been kind of dumbfounded with this particular movie because, wow, what a shock in a good way. So let me get back to the comments. Then we'll get into the review. I'm sorry if I went on a little bit of a tangent here, but I definitely wanted to get my thoughts out on that whole situation because to me that's a big part of this movie's legacy. I would say that the ice cream that you had was the Sonic equivalent to Gorefield and Garfield. Yeah, it was poor. Oh my god, man, Sonic got deformed. That was the year that the two Sonic TV series premiered and the character was voiced by Jaleel White, of course, the legendary Steve Urkel. How are you doing, buddy? By the way, I saw 3 Sonic movies, and I'm up to 2012 in my memoirs. I remember that trailer. Anthony Chobot does pop cultures and openings. Welcome, my friend. Hope all is well with you. Ryan Hanley says, Sonic the Hedgehog Spinball was my favorite Sonic game. I actually never played that. That sounds pretty cool. Was that for... I don't know what that would have been for. Would that have been for the Sega Genesis? I'm not 100% on that. To think that people are now comparing the Shrek 5 redesigns to that monstrosity. I mean, you have to look at the film business. I think this is a perfect example of the film business. A lot of these people that are in charge, a lot of these people that have the money, that aren't you or I, that love these characters and will spend our free time to discuss how much we love these characters. Here's the people that are getting paid to make these decisions and designs and ideas. And you could tell they had no fucking clue. Gangsta's Paradise? When you think Sonic the Hedgehog, you think of Gangsta's Paradise? What the fuck? And the fucking fact that, okay, we're going to give him calf muscles and we're going to make him look like as much of a real hedgehog as possible. Buddy, you're making a film. You're making a comic book / video game movie. It's that type of story. What the fuck are you trying to do? All this realism. Like, it just didn't make any damn sense. It's like, dude, you're going to get the CGI character anyway. Let's make it right. Let's make it as close to Sonic the Hedgehog as we can. And thankfully, they understood their faults and they went back and changed it. I think there's a lot of studios that would have been stubborn, that would have said, no, we're not changing anything. We're not spending another dime. I truly think the $5 extra million that they spent to redesign Sonic is the reason that this is going on to gross over $1 billion worldwide. I truly believe that. I think that one decision to spend the $5 million extra sounds a little crazy, but it paid off. It really did. It really, really paid off. I think if they didn't do it, they would have got crickets on opening night. Granted, I was in a dead theater and it was close to the global pandemic, but I think that, somewhat attributed to my particular screening of it. Good evening, Graveyardian fam. Hello, everyone. Triple H is in the house hitting pedigrees on some bitches. Hey, all. Hey, Grande. At Ryan. I love Sonic Spinball as well. Very underrated little game. Okay, another Sonic Spinball player. That was the last movies I saw during the pandemic. I almost died because of overweight. Yeah, no, I had a bad experience with COVID as well, unfortunately. It was about a year after that. I was hospitalized for like 2 weeks for having COVID. So yeah, no, it was not fun times. I'm happy that you're okay, Anthony. That's definitely what's most important. Sonic was my last pre-COVID theater experience too. I think Sonic 2 was my first movie when theaters reopened, oddly enough. That is so, see, that's full circle, right? I remember for months on months, going on, it has to be a year. It had to be over a year. We're all sitting there going, is this really the last fucking movie I ever will see in a movie theater? I was like, I laughed. I'm like, you know what? It could have been worse. I remember being like, it could have been worse. It could have been whatever the fuck else. But I do remember that whole, that was, the world was just about to shut down. I got laid off like 2 weeks after that. I remember they were like, yeah, the pandemic's coming. So yeah, you're fired. I was like, bye, Sirius XM. Thanks for the chance. People, I'm looking forward to James Gunn's Superman. James Gunn always does a good job, so I definitely have faith in that movie as well. Same, they even told me on Crypto. I loved the Crypto animated show. I loved that show. I thought that was a great show. D to the A, Donovan Alba, what up? J to the G in the house. What's going on, D to the A? Hula Mutawi. That's Hala Mutawi. That's a first time name in the graveyard. Welcome. Movie Sonic and Movie Tales are both kind of like SpongeBob SquarePants and Jimmy Neutron. That is quite the comparison, but we're happy to have you in the house. Just share on IG. Thank you so much. That's nice of you. Let's see. SpongeBob SquarePants, the movie, and Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie. Well, yeah, I like both those movies as well. What made Sonic such a very iconic character was because Mario had become popular and Sega wanted to create their own video game superhero. That's right. The original character, I want to say it was called Alex Kidd. That was the original idea that Sega had to dethrone Mario or to rival Mario. They were like, we got to get something like Mario. And if you played Alex Kidd on the Sega Genesis, I believe it was Alex Kidd. I might be wrong. Because mind you, I wasn't fucking alive. So some of these things, they get lost in translation. I never owned a Sega. Sega was fucking dead by the time I was alive. Let's be honest. But I know that didn't work because it felt like a very carbon copy of Mario, Super Mario Brothers. So what did they do? They wanted somebody more cunning. They wanted somebody cooler. They wanted somebody that could be as popular as Mario, but different from him aesthetically. And hence Sonic the Hedgehog is born. And I think the rest is history. I think that's the beauty of Sonic the Hedgehog. It was the counter to Mario, because Mario was everywhere at the time. It had taken over the gaming world. But we look forward, 20 years down the road. I definitely think Sonic has won the theatrical movies. I don't think the Sonic movies kick the shit out of any Mario movie that's ever came out. Now, if you want to compare the series and sagas, yes, Mario might probably have them there. But it is still an argument. It is still a discussion that's kind of fun to have if you're into that sort of thing. It's a fun, nerdy argument for sure. Jinja Ninja's in the house. Yo, Jinja Ninja in the house. What's going on, buddy? Hope all is well with you. Yo, Jinja. SpongeBob SquarePants just beat Sonic the Hedgehog 2. It is because his movie came out first. Okay. Only seen the first one but enjoyed it. And keen to check out the sequels. I really think you should. I think all three of these are really, really good. People saying hi. Sega Genesis. Okay. Let's see. Do you ever play the video game crossover called Nicktoons Unite? I have not. I actually have not. Spinball was on the Sega. Okay. Underrated game. Hey, have you ever watched The Adventures of Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius? I have. I actually have watched that show, and I grew up with that show, so that's a big favorite of mine. Funny enough, for a while, Sonic 1, Movie 1 was the last movie I've seen in the cinemas before the pandemic. So a lot of us are in the same boat. Isn't that funny? People talking to one another. I remember 8-bit consoles. If I think Alex Kidd too long, my ear. Okay, it was Alex Kidd though. I'm right. So that is right. Yeah, they had the horrible sound. So yeah, I remember that. Alex Kidd was the first one that didn't work. And they spent a lot of money on Alex Kidd, and then it was Sonic the Hedgehog that took over and became this big thing. And I think they did McDonald's tie-ins and promotions and all that. But let's get to the movies. I'm sorry. I've just been going off on my history, my origins, my ice cream, that have you. Let's get off into the actual beginning of this particular series here, of course, where we get into the original film from, of course, 2020, February of 2020, the little movie that could, a movie that I've grown on to really, really like. This is, of course, Sonic the Hedgehog. Brief plot synopsis. Taking refuge on Earth when Sonic uses his incredible speed and accidentally knocks out the power in part of the United States, he catches the attention of Dr. Robotnik, a.k.a. Eggman, and must stop him from using his unique power for world domination. Yes, Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, like I said, when I first saw this in the movie theater, I was like, this is going to be horrible. Like, this is never going to work. What are we going to do? What are we doing here? I was pleasantly surprised by all of these movies, and I think the number one thing that this particular movie gets right, and the reason why I would lean towards it being my favorite of the 3 Sonic movies, is the heart. I think this has a great heart to it, and it's a great arc for Sonic's character. We open up in Sonic's world. He's running around. It's Forest Hills. It's really, really cool. Really, I was like, oh man, this is eye candy, absolute eye candy. Of course, Sonic's mom gets attacked by this tribe that ends up being, in the next movie, you find out with Knuckles. They were Knuckles' tribe. She tells him, here are these magical rings, and you can use them as a teleportation. You know, I love you, but you've got to go. And Sonic's, owl mom kind of tells him to go, and he is taken to the Earth, where he basically lives incognito for all of these years, and he lives vicariously through others. He watches young kids play baseball and dreams that, hey, I would love to be a part of the team. He watches James Marsden's character, who's like the county sheriff, if you will, and he idolizes him. He calls him the Donut Lord, and he really looks up to him and wants to be his buddy. And then, of course, one night, where he's deciding to play baseball by himself, Sonic is having this really fun sequence where he's running around the court and all these things and playing baseball and stuff like that with himself. He gets upset. He's like, oh man, I'm alone. He realizes it. He realizes in that moment, I'm alone in this world. I have nobody by me. I'm totally friendless. And Sonic starts to run the bases all aggressively and gets really sad and emotional. And you see that he's radioactive. And this big power surge happens because of his frustration. And that gets the government interested. And they, of course, bring in Dr. Robotnik, played by the legendary Jim Carrey, who I think was a big reason for these movies' successes as well. That's a big name to get. And, of course, Jim Carrey, we had not seen Jim Carrey all that much coming up to this point. I mean, prior to this, you would have had that bad true crime movie that he did. He would have had stuff like Mr. Popper's Penguins. You would have probably had stuff like Kick-Ass 2, stuff like that. He was really not making as much movies at that time. It really was kind of one of those things where it was away. He wasn't really in the public eye anymore. When he got announced to play this role, I'll admit to you, the first thing I thought, Jim Carrey is Eggman? Like, wasn't he a little skinny to play Eggman? I initially thought the guy that would have been perfect would have been Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito would have been the best Dr. Eggman, I think, that you could have possibly got. But I think Jim Carrey is definitely going to sell more tickets. And Jim Carrey is so fun in this role. He's having a grand old time, laughing like fuck, having a great time, celebrating, dancing, improvising, all the stuff that we know and love Jim Carrey for. He's doing it here. It's almost like he's playing himself dialed up to 20 and evil, monotonous, whatever. I liked that part of this. I think Jim Carrey really, really helps this movie. It has a good presence when he's on screen. It's like, okay, now we can laugh. We can have a good time with this. And of course, Sonic befriends James Marsden. He kind of hides out in his house, and the entire movie is this road movie where Sonic and James Marsden are on the run to try to get Sonic's magical rings in San Francisco. And of course, Dr. Eggman is on his tail as Sonic slowly but surely starts to learn how to make friends, right? He makes a friend with James Marsden. He learns how to fit in, right? Because he was always starved of this. He was always kind of pushed away from it. He was isolated because he never wanted to get in trouble. He never wanted to be seen. And of course, now that he's with James Marsden, it becomes like a buddy road film, almost circa Planes, Trains, Automobiles, circa Due Date, circa all these movies that, you have two buddies that aren't really getting along at first, but they learn to love each other as the movie goes on. And I think this movie is really fun. It has a really good soundtrack to it. There's a fun sequence where they go to this local tavern and he's teaching Sonic how to play darts. He's teaching Sonic how to ride the mechanical bull. Of course, eventually a big brawl breaks out in this bar, and they play this great sequence where Sonic can slow down time and run super fast around everybody and get them to punch each other and things like that. They play that my feet go boom, 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 boom. Love that. I thought that whole sequence was really fun. And like Sonic's like, all right, let's get the fuck out of here. Like I thought that was really great. There's some decent enough action sequences. I think the action is stepped up a lot more in the sequels, which makes perfect sense. But I think the sequels improved on the action. This is very limited action, but when it's there, it's good. There's a fun sequence where Jim Carrey sends these devices out to chase James Marsden and Sonic, and they're looking back in their car. And of course, these devices come. Sonic gets out, does the big spin dash into the car, and he's like, "Is that all you got?" And Eggman, "No, but thank you for asking." And then he sends out another freaking robot. It's just a really good time. I think this movie has a lot of fun and a lot of heart all around. Because again, the whole idea and the whole goal of this is to show that Sonic is going from someone who's isolated, who's alone, who's sad, and then of course finds a family in James Marsden and his significant other, played by Tamika. What's her name? Tamika. I think it's Tima Sumpter. Sorry, Tika Sumpter. That's her name. Beautiful lady. Oh my God, what a beautiful friggin' lady. Perfectly casted. I thought her and James Marsden definitely had chemistry. They clicked. And I thought that they, it was a nice thing. They took him in, and it's like a whole battle at the end between Sonic and Robotnik. And there's a whole spiel where Sonic says, one thing I have that you don't, Robotnik, I have friends, and that's something you're never going to have. And they have this big old kind of final battle in the middle of the city. I like this movie a lot. I think it's good. It's got, like I said, it's got its heart in the right place. It's really fun for the whole family. This is a perfect movie. If you have kids, I would highly recommend you watch this movie with your kids. I think it's a perfect time at the movies with friends and family and all that stuff. I just really, really love Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie. I think it's just perfect. It has a lot of laughs. It has a lot of good action, good character work, good direction. A big surprise. And the fact, again, that they changed the design on Sonic, I think, really helped this movie go above and beyond. And this was making about $320 million worldwide. The sequels would only continue to do better and improve upon that. And we'll get into those sequels in just a little bit here. But Sonic the Hedgehog 1, I think it's the best of the three. I really like it. It's simple. It's effective. Jim Carrey doing his thing and improvising. Evil grows in cracks and holes. It lives in people's minds. That was all improvised by Jim Carrey, and he picked the song. So again, good stuff. I mean, you let Jim Carrey be Jim Carrey. A lot of people, they'll try to keep him to the page. That's the beauty of Jim Carrey. You have a talent like that. You got to let him improvise. You got to let him do things that no other talent that you could bring in is going to bring to the table. That's the whole beauty of him as an actor. And I know he's crazy. I know even at the time he had spoken out against the people that, of course, shit on the original design. Jim Carrey had a big problem with, the fans are controlling the movie now. I don't know how comfortable I feel about being a part of this. They made a whole statement saying that. And I laughed because I'm like, dude, you were so wrong. Like, sometimes you got to fix something if it doesn't look right. And they thankfully did. And the rest is history. It's a really cool movie. I love Sonic the Hedgehog, the first one, probably my favorite of the whole franchise. I really enjoy this movie for sure. Let's see. I forget where we were. I think we were here. Suicide Squad blows. Sonic was a great movie. I haven't seen 2 or 3 yet, but I've been a fan ever since I stepped into the Green Hill Zone. Spinball for life. Okay, a lot of people love Spinball. I'm going to have to play this game, man. Jim Carrey and Jack Black actually know each other ever since when they were little kids. Really? That's Small World. Easily one of the best video game adaptations. I would agree wholeheartedly. I think this has got to be in the top 3 video, because think about why they were so hesitant to make video game adaptations. Like, so many of them fucking fail. I like the first Mortal Kombat, but Mortal Kombat Annihilation's a piece of monkey shit. Let's be honest. The first Mario movie, I know for some reason the Super Mario Brother from 93 now has a cult following. I will go to my grave. I'll be in the graveyard 6 feet under before I understand why that movie has a big cult following and $100 special edition from Arrow. I will literally be deceased by the time that I understand why people like that movie. I don't understand. It's truly a feat in itself to make a good video game adaptation to film. In and of itself, it's a big thing. I remember when the 2 Sonic cartoon series premiered, and I thought they were going to be the same, but found out how different they were because one was slapstick and the other was serious. And I know there have been some people with Sonic the Hedgehog, they want and prefer the more serious tone when it comes to this character. Like they aim for the darkness, right? Like Sonic the Hedgehog 06 is a darling of that. It's a horrible game with a horrible story, but Sonic dies in the game. Like, it's very serious. Whereas I grew up with games like Sonic Heroes. Like, this is very lighthearted. This is a lot different than Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. This is very Like there's a point where Amy shows up and she's like, Sonic, there's no way you'll be getting away from marrying me. And he's like, Amy, what are you doing here? And they have a whole fight with Team Rhodes because of this. Like that's not going to happen in a serious, thing. But I think, again, while this is a kid's movie, while it's a comedy with action in there, and there's also dramatic elements, I don't think it ever got too serious where it's like, oh, God, like, what are we doing? I don't mind the fun and goofiness. Same thing with Batman. I'm the same way. I grew up with the Schumacher movies. I liked the Adam West show. That's what I liked. So I don't mind a goofy Batman. Most people do. Most people get fucking pissed. That's not my Batman. Hashtag fuck you. I don't know. To me, there's nothing wrong with it. And especially when you're talking about a blue hedgehog who hangs out with a fucking fox with two tails and a dog with giant fists who battles a man named fucking Eggman. There's only so serious to me that you could take yourself. But I'm in the minority on that. Trenchy's in the house. What's up, Trench? Hope all is well with you. But Movie Knuckles is scared of ghosts just like Luigi. That's a good point. Yeah, he gets scared in part 3. That's a good point. That reminds me of what Sonic said to Infinite and Forces. You just can't admit but notice just how sad and lonely you are. And I think they do a great job at driving that home in this movie. Ben Schwartz is the guy that does the voice of Sonic. I think he does a really good job with the voice performance. It is a really sad character that's like vicariously just sitting out watching baseball games from under the stands being like, oh man, I wish I could have had this. I wish I could have been a kid. He never got the childhood that he also longed and dreamed of, And I think that in finding James Marsden, he finds a way to kind of live that out and find someone who does care about him and have his back. And that's all Sonic ever wanted because his mother was taken away from him so quickly, And I will say, if there's one gripe I have with the movie, I wish we could have got more time with Sonic and his mom, like to build that bond a little bit. So when they take it away from you, you just go, oh, like you're heartbroken. But at the same time, you want to briskly pace these movies. And this is by far the best paced of them. This is an hour, 39-minute movie. Without credits, it's an hour and a half. I mean, the sequels go on a little long, especially the second one goes over 2 hours. I don't think you need to make a 2-hour Sonic movie. I really don't. I like all three of these, spoiler, but to me, this is the best paced one. Briskly paced it. If I could have added 10 minutes of Sonic and his mom, that's a perfect world, but it's fine the way it is. It's my only knock on the film. I'm a big fan of Sonic. I really enjoyed the first 2 films. Haven't seen the third. I highly recommend it. I know a lot of people prefer the third as the best. I would lean towards the first one. I really like the first Sonic. Mortal Kombat is awesome. The first one is fun. I have a fun time with Mortal Kombat. Da-da-da-da-da-da. I didn't like the new one with the HBO. I did not like that at all. And I hate and Mortal Kombat Annihilation is a horrible movie. Like, if we could sit here all night and talk about bad video, throw a rock, you'll hit a bad video game adaptation movie. Anything game to movie adaptation done with the name Uwe Boll attached to it, yeah, that's dicey. Yeah, House of the Dead 2, run the fuck away. Run the other direction. I bought the first Mortal Kombat this weekend for $5 on Blu-ray. Well, what a coincidence. That is really cool. I really like that movie. That's, to me, worth, a $10 Blu-ray, if you will. Jim Carrey has become the definitive Robotnik to me. Isn't that funny? How, I'll be honest, when I first heard that, and when I liked Jim Carrey, but I remember being initially like, huh? And then when he started talking out against the fans, he was like, oh, it's ridiculous. I was like, dude, shut up. Don't continue this. And thankfully he stopped talking and the rest can be history. But yeah, at the time, I remember initially being like, huh? But Jim Carrey's one of those guys made so lovable. Granted, I know there are people that love or hate. He's very bipolarizing, I guess. I've always loved Jim Carrey, though. Always. Liar, Liar, Batman Forever. I did a Jim Carrey top 10. Truman Show, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. One of my favorite actors. I love Jim Carrey. What about Sonic the Hedgehog's ex-girlfriend, Princess Sally? Well, that's in Sonic the Hedgehog 06, that is better left forgotten. Or actually, no, that might be a different one. I might be thinking of the princess from that game, which is horrible. The pale lady. I don't think there would be anyone who could play that better than Jim Carrey. Isn't that funny? I actually now I'm at the point where I agree with that. I actually agree wholeheartedly that that's the only guy you could have ever had to play that part. I like both serious and silly Sonic. I think both work. I'd agree with that. Mickey Mouse and Friends Gaming Channel. Welcome to MICKEYMOUSE. Mickey Mouse. Piggins got traded. Fatality. Well, yeah, it is a fatality. Welcome, Pat. Hope all's well with you, buddy. I actually like House of the Dead 2. The original is trash, though. Really? You're just shitting on Uwe Boll, and now House of the Dead 2, you like it? Ginger, you're throwing curveballs, buddy. And I think these movies balance the serious and comedy well. I'm a very big Shadow fan, so I hope they do him right in the third one and balance his series. Oh, there is really no comedy to be had with Shadow. They did it pretty. I think they did it really well, though. My only problem there, we'll get to it, but we'll get there. We'll get there. People saying hi to one another. I'm tired, man. All right. Hey, no worries. We all get tired sometimes. All good. But the first Sonic the Hedgehog, a really good movie. I highly, highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. To me, it's very well worth the watch. I think it's a fun time for the whole family, which is something I rarely will say on Grande's Graveyard. That's Last House on the Left special. This is not really good for the whole family. But the Sonic trilogy, it is, which takes me to the sequel, of course, which came out in 2022. Of course, one of the points, I think, where the pandemic had finally subsided and we could all start going to enjoy movies again on the big screen. Another one I saw in the theater with Mark. We took a picture with the poster that I did post on my social media this week. Of course, the sequel, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. When Dr. Robotnik returns with a new partner, Knuckles, in search of an emerald that has the power to destroy civilizations, Sonic teams up with his own sidekick Tails on a cross-country journey across the world to find the emerald first. Another really good one. I would say this is a movie that I would say is a small step down from the first movie. Like, I like it still a lot. I would say of the three, this might be my weakest, but that's not saying anything crazy. Like, the first one is probably a 7.5 for me. This is a 7. Like, it's that close. It's within a half of a point. Of course, this follows Sonic. It's it's a little bit down the road. It's a few years later. He's living, loving life with Marsden and his woman, Tika Sumpter. Loving to be a part of life. He's just life is Sonic's. That's the type of story they're telling here. And then, of course, Dr. Eggman gets out of the dimension he was sent to in the previous movie using his smarts. He runs into Knuckles, which is, funny enough, voiced by Idris Elba, which is another choice where I went, Idris Elba as Knuckles? Really? I initially was like, that is a weird choice too. I was dumbfounded in the theater. I'm like, he's Knuckles. It was so good. I was so pleasantly surprised again. I was like, I didn't think this would work. But I thought Idris Elba did a great job because Knuckles' character in this is playing someone who's very strong, but he's very naive and doesn't understand everyday common sense things that the rest of us would understand. So he's that type of character in this. And I thought that he did such a good job playing this part. I was like, wow, this is really something cool to see Knuckles in a Sonic movie. And of course, Sonic is met by longtime sidekick, one of my favorite sidekicks of all time in the history of sidekicks, period. Tails, played by Colleen O'Shaughnessy, who voiced Tails for years and years and years. I was so happy they got her. I was like, if they don't get her, there's problems in the world because she's the definitive. There is no Tails without Colleen O'Shaughnessy. So I was so happy to see her name in the marquee. It was like, thank you. Like, you got this one right. I was very skeptical about Idris. I walked out. I was like, Idris nailed it. I was like a very, very proud Idris Elba fan that day. As, of course, Eggman and Knuckles team up against Sonic and Tails, and it's a whole cross-dimensional goose chase, if you will, for the Master Emerald. There is a side plot in this movie that sort of hurts it with James Marsden and his wife. They go to her sister's wedding in Hawaii. All of that, like a majority of it could have been cut. Like, all that stuff, I'm like, this is okay. It's comic relief, if you will. It is what it is. I just didn't really like the amount of time that it took up in the picture. Because like I said, this is over 2-hour movie. You feel it. It's not as vastly paced as the first movie. I definitely thought this one felt a little bit longer in the tooth, and that whole wedding sequence, while in the theater we were laughing like crazy, upon a rewatch I was kind of checking my watch. It was like, all right, like, let's get, like, this is I no problem, but this is fine. Like, it's a little bit long in the tooth, just a little, not terrible, not deflating, but a little bit long. Of course, there's a fun scene where Sonic and Tails, they're going through the mountains and things like that. And they're like, hey, throw the ring. We got to throw the ring. And they call James Marsden. They're like, you got to throw the ring. And he's like, oh, okay. And he realizes that it's the wedding ring and he has to take it off. He punches the fucking groom in the face, throws the ring. And Sonic and Tails are like being chased by an avalanche, and the whole avalanche comes onto Hawaii. I thought that was really funny. I was like, whoa, like that is absolutely insane little sequence there. I will say this film is definitely more colorful. You get a lot more color in this picture because, of course, you have so many different colors to play with. I mean, look at the poster alone. You have reds now, you have yellows, you have the blues of yesteryear, you have the green Master Chaos Emerald, which is so cool visually to look at. I thought they did a great job with the design of that. It's like so shiny and it beckons you in, just like I guess the emerald is supposed to do. I was like, wow, this is kind of stunning. I like this in a good way. That stuff works. They do try to tell the whole story where Knuckles is this cold guy and that Knuckles and Sonic, they're having these kind of battles and stuff like this. And Knuckles feels that no one cares about him. No one ever cared about him. And he has this kind of redemption arc where at one point he and Sonic are drowning and Sonic goes to save him. He's like pinned underneath this thing and Sonic's like, come on, push with me. And Knuckles looks shocked. He's like, what are you doing? And Knuckles pushes with him. He swims to shore, but Sonic can't swim. So Sonic kind of like fades out. And all of a sudden, Sonic wakes up. He's on the beach, and he's like, you saved me. Why'd you save me? And Knuckles is like, I would never have done it, but you saved me. Like, it's very rare someone sticks their neck out for someone like me. And thus, they become buddies. And then, of course, they all go against the big evil Eggman, who's now Super Eggman because he's captured the Chaos Emerald. And he has the Mega Eggman suit and things like that. And I thought that was all fun. The whole thing. I thought the finale here might have been the best of the three. Like, I really liked the finale. The whole action sequence at the end was a big improvement on some of the action that we see in part one. I was very, very happy with this action sequence because they have to work as a team. And it reminded me of this game. I was like Sonic Heroes, and I was praying they would play the song at the end of Sonic Heroes. But of course, they kind of huddle up, and Tails says it. He's like, Sonic, you're the speed. Knuckles, you're the strength, and I'm the smarts. I'm Tails, and I'm the smarts. And we got to do this together and take Eggman down. And they, of course, team up to try to beat him. And Sonic grabs the emerald to become Golden Sonic, the untouchable, invincible, invulnerable Sonic the Hedgehog, as they go and take down Eggman in a really fun third act. I really liked the third act. I thought it really helped and saved this movie from being like a 6.5, 6 out of 10. But overall, really, really liked this movie too. I think it's another solid trip to the movies. I had a great time when we saw it. It was the exact opposite experience of seeing the first one. We saw it in a sold out, jam-packed theater on opening night. We took the picture with the poster. I had my Knuckles socks. I do have Knuckles socks somewhere. I couldn't find them for the show. But that was another fun night too. Just like, I think what's beautiful about this too, and why I have to thank Anthony for requesting the show, is that it takes you back to where you were. And it really was only a few years ago, but you look at how times have changed. The first movie was just before the pandemic turned the world upside down. This movie was when the world was finally putting itself back together again. I had gone through a really bad hospital stint. I was with another job at that time. I was with another girlfriend at that time. You look at how certain things in your life and then you go, holy shit, this was only 3 years ago, but it feels like a lifetime ago. It really does. I'll never forget that opening night, though. It was a really, really fun time, really fun night in the movie theater, seeing all things Sonic the Hedgehog 2. A good movie. It's like a 7 out of 10. It's okay at best. I don't think it's as good as the other two for me. Let's see. Where the heck were we? I think we were here. Why Sonic looks like a bad butt with his energy crackling on his body, but is cute. And why does he have blue and why his eyes are joined? I don't know what you're asking. I'm sorry. Uwe has made a fair amount of decent films. No, he hasn't. Pat, don't defend Uwe Boll in this chat. Don't even try. What if Sonic meets Sally movie? Okay. Mateo is here. Ciao Grande. Just checking in. We'll watch later at a concert tonight. Dude, have fun at the concert. Have fun, Graveyardians. Absolutely. We always do. Knuckles had become my favorite character as the movie went on. Yeah, there was something about him that was endearing. Like, he starts off as this big brute, he beats up Sonic, and he's, and fucking Jim Carrey's like, Sonic, meet Knuckles. I thought that was great. I don't know. I thought he did a great job. Idris did a really, really good job. I love Knuckles in this movie. He reminds me of a friend I know. I love how he's played serious, but his tunnel vision of being a warrior and not knowing basic things makes him hilarious. Look, I'm having the fun. Yes, exactly. almost like the inverse Starfire, where it's the same. There's the innocence that they don't know basic things, where she's all about the power of positivity. He's like all seriousness and whatever, and then he learns how to have fun. It's his arc of learning it, and learning how to make friends. And then of course Sonic, his whole arc here is that he had James Marsden, he has a family, now he has friends, right? That's the whole story they're telling with Sonic here. The second one is great too, just overstayed its welcome by 20 minutes. I love that line. Get me off this piece of shiitake planet. Right at the beginning, right? He's in the mushroom world. That was really funny. I agree. It's a little too long. It's like, this did not need to be 2 hours. But with that said, there are movies that do that more egregiously than this. Love that baseball scene so much. I did too. I thought the baseball scene was fun. It's just like the time when Debbie Derryberry, that she used to voice acting as Jimmy Neutron. Okay. Are you doing Starfire? There you go. Somebody immediately clicked with Pat. I didn't totally hate the Hawaii stuff, but it was a waste of time. And there was a lot of spotlight on the comedic relief sister and Criminal Minds. Yeah, that stuff, it could have been cut. Like that, you could have cut it down. I don't hate it either. I don't think it was like so horrible you got to cut it completely, but you could have trimmed the fat out. There's fat there. Knuckles from Sonic 2, Patrick, but it does sound like Starfire. I think so too. I totally get the Starfire vibe from what you're saying as well. Definitely agree with getting rid of the Hawaii scenes. I think it would have helped. I really think it would have helped the pacing a little bit more. You can't go work with the Teen Titans. I love the Teen Titans. The Teen Titans is my favorite. Sonic Hero is much more similar to the video game crossover called the Nicktoons Unite that I used to play so many years ago. Very cool. I think the problem with this movie is they want to keep the human characters relevant, but don't really know what to do with them. And they got overshadowed emphasis on the shadow, I guess. But I know what you mean. Like, there's a point at the beginning of this where they're kind of sending them off. They're like, okay, like, have fun in Hawaii, bye. And I laughed. I'm like, this is totally just the writers being like, we don't need you in the movie. Like, and I thought they were barely going to be in it, but they do end up playing a big role, because there's the point at the end where they're like, we stay with you, we'll die with you, Sonic. Like, you're our son, we love you. And that was nice. I thought that was nice. Teen Titans is my shit. I reviewed every single episode of Teen Titans on this channel, so if you're a fan, please. The Pie Song is a straight out classic. Movie Knuckles was even dumped into this mission. So I think they created the side plot so the humans had something to do. I think you're right. I totally think that's why. And yes, I haven't seen the Knuckles show, but I've heard of all of this new Jeff Fowler Sonic stuff that it's the weakest. So I haven't checked out the Knuckles show. Maybe someday I will, but I do like Idris, and I totally think it would be worth a watch just for him alone. But Sonic the Hedgehog 2, a good sequel, worthy sequel. Nothing great, but definitely something that I think was a decent enough movie, and it made a fair share. I mean, it didn't go up against any big heavyweights. It didn't come out the same weekend as some other big movie that really could have took its success, but it made over $400 million worldwide. So you went from 320 just prior to the pandemic, going up against the biggest comic book villain female character of all time in Harley Quinn. Then the following 2 years later, after a pandemic, you go up to gross $405 million worldwide. And then you get to the last movie of the Sonic the Hedgehog series here, where we get to Sonic the Hedgehog Part 3. I don't know why the poster didn't come up. Let me go here and get the poster for you. The last one up until now, of course, there will be a fourth one if you've seen this. This is Sonic the Hedgehog Number 3. Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails reunite against a powerful new adversary, Shadow, a mysterious villain with powers unlike anything they've ever faced before. With their abilities outmatched, Team Sonic must seek out an unlikely alliance. Yes, Sonic 3. I saw this, funny enough, opening night alongside, it was this was on its opening night, and Nosferatu. Actually, no, this was not. I'm wrong. Nosferatu was on its opening night. This was, I think, already had been playing for maybe a week or so. I believe that was the situation. But we saw it as a double feature. We saw Saw and Nosferatu. That was what we were calling it. We did do 2 little mini reviews for this and Nosferatu when we were right out of the theater, Mark and I. So it's funny. Partner in crime through all this. The Tails to my Sonic, or I'm the Tails to his Sonic. I don't know. But we saw this as well in a Dolby. We saw this in a really nice Dolby theater. And right off the bat, the thing that I was like, was the casting of Shadow. Now, the initial rumor and the internet was buzzing about this. And I was so excited at the time. I was like, if they fucking do this, the internet's going to be a better place. Like, I truly think they missed out. This was the biggest miscasting they did in all three of these movies. They initially were going to have someone else play Shadow. Of course, the guy they end up going with is John Wick, Keanu Reeves. I really like Keanu Reeves. I really like the guy as a person, but the guy they should have got was Hayden Christensen. That was the guy they initially had planned. To me, the fact that you robbed the internet from all of the fun memes that could have been made of Shadow being voiced by Hayden fucking Christensen, of course, aka Anakin Skywalker, that would have been absolutely legendary. I mean, I think that would have been the greatest thing ever. Could you imagine the memes of Shadow bitching about the sand? Could you imagine all the fun people could have had with that? And I think Hayden really needed this because Hayden, of course, is somebody had been out of the public eye for so freaking long. They did that Obi-Wan show where he's there via CGI and de-aged and things like that. And he's under the Vader mask. But I thought that Hayden Christensen voicing Shadow here would have been so fun. Like, I would have marked out in the theater, like, you underestimate my power. It's Alma Shadow. I have the high ground. I mean, you robbed the internet. The internet would have ran with this like crazy. Like, that is, oh, what a horrible miscasting to me. But with that said, is Keanu great? Not really. I think Keanu's okay as bad. It never hits for me. It never clicked. I don't think he's a good Shadow the Hedgehog. I think you could have got somebody better. I like Keanu. I like the guy. I like the actor and a lot of other things. As Shadow the Hedgehog, I was like, I don't know. I don't think he killed it that much. But I know I'm in the minority of that. A lot of people love him as that character. This, of course, takes from the plot of Sonic Adventure 2. You get the whole Shadow origin story with Maria, who was the little girl that he kind of, befriended when he was in the factory. And we see these kind of flashbacks dispersed throughout the film of him and his relationship with her. And he's yearning for those days because she was killed in an unfortunate accident where, of course, the older Eggman, the grandfather of Eggman, also played by Jim Carrey in this, they were trying to escape and somebody shot a misfire and Maria dies in the crossfire, sadly. Really well done. They do that whole story great, where we see Shadow and her bond and they're playing old school music on the records. They're sitting outside and looking at the stars. I thought they did a great job at building that. See, this is what I wanted in the first Sonic with Sonic's mom. Like, give me the bond. Let me see them together over the years to see what she meant to him. And instead they do it here. We see what Maria meant to Shadow, why Shadow's so cold, why Shadow's so mean, why Shadow is truly a part of the dark side, which hence again why Hayden Christensen was born to play Shadow the Hedgehog, but I digress. The movie opens where Shadow escapes the plant that he's been hauled in. Of course, he's wreaking havoc in Japan. And of course, our lovely Sonic heroes, they are sent out to go and get him. And of course, they jump out of a plane and we get some awesome action sequences, a really fun chase sequence between Shadow and Sonic running throughout Japan. I loved that whole thing. I thought that was a really, really fun sequence in the movie theater. We'd seen it in Dolby. Just all those, the sounds are just so freaking exemplified. It's so good, man. It's just so fun to watch in a movie theater. Perfectly built for the movies. And then we of course have Sonic and his trio, and they're trying to face, this unbeatable guy in Shadow, and they look to their most unlikely ally, of course, in Dr. Robotnik, Dr. Eggman. They hit up Jim Carrey, who they've defeated 2 movies in a row. Of course, now the thing that has to be mentioned here too is Jim Carrey was done. Jim Carrey, after the second movie was over, he said, I would have to be given a script that's written in golden ink to ever get me to come out of retirement. So in a lot of ways, I think the initial plan was they were going to just go with Sonic versus Shadow, or Sonic and his trio versus Shadow. I don't think Eggman was originally going to be in this. And I think what happened was someone at that studio probably said, man, we can't do these movies without Jim Carrey. Like, it's to the point now that we've done 2 with him and he's so fun and electric and energetic and throwing out the one-liners and having a good time with the dance sequences and things like that. You're at the point now where you've done 3 of these with Jim Carrey. The 4th one's going to be missing that. It's really going to miss Jim Carrey. No matter if it's good, bad, or ugly, you're going to miss that presence there because he's so fun and entertaining in all these movies. And of course, Jim Carrey came back to do this, even though he wasn't supposed to. And they joked with him. A lot of people said, oh, hey, was Sonic 3 written in golden ink? Like you said, he was like, money talks and all this stuff. He was very honest about the whole thing. So very, very cool. Kudos to him. He plays two of himself, two Dr. Eggmans, the youthful Eggman and the old Dr. Eggman, of course. And I thought this was fun. Sometimes this can go horribly wrong when comedic actors try to play alongside themselves. I mean, look what Adam Sandler did it with Jack and Jill. That's one of the biggest pieces of shit of all time. With Jack and Jill, ran up the fucking hill and danced on the fucking boat with the jump ropes and all this stuff. And oh my God, horrible. Jack and Jill is one of the most biggest pieces of shit movies. It's next to Going Overboard. It's the worst Adam Sandler movie. But it could have gone horribly wrong like that, and thankfully it did. Jim Carrey pulls it off really well. He's playing the old version of himself and the young version, but they're both very overweight. And there's a fun dance sequence where they're dancing with the laser reflectors, and that I thought was a blast. Jim Carrey, he's just a shining light in all of these movies to me. I thought he did a great job. And we kind of play out as all of them are kind of teaming up to try to take down Shadow. And then we have a very similar turn like we did in the previous movie where Shadow and Sonic had this crazy battle where Sonic's like Golden Sonic and trying to beat up Shadow. And there's these whole kind of arguments about, making the right choice in life. It's funny. It's kind of similar to Spider-Man 3 when you look at it. I know people hate Spider-Man 3, but there's even a line where Shadow says, I didn't feel I had a choice. And Sonic says, we always have a choice. And I was like, where's Tobey Maguire and Thomas Hayden Church at? I immediately was like, the Spider-Man 3 arc? But I liked it. And I thought, dare I say, it might have been even done better here. I thought it was really well done, right? Because Shadow is so destroyed and torn and sad about losing the one person that ever loved him and that he ever loved. And you have all this stuff where he wants to get vengeance, but he doesn't realize is that the taking revenge and vengeance, it's not going to work. It's not going to make the pain go away. It's never going to make her come back. And Sonic says, you got to look into the light and you got to remember why you loved her and remember and fondly remember that the times that you had with Maria. And Shadow gets all kind of emotional. He's like, you're right. You're absolutely right. And then, of course, Sonic and Shadow have to join forces at the end to try to steer the ship away from Earth so it doesn't blow up like the Death Star or the Death Star blowing up Alderaan, if you will. Really good. Really fun finale. I felt like a lot of the characters had something to do here. Everyone sort of had an arc. Jim Carrey's whole arc with he finds his grandfather and he thinks, oh, this is finally a friend. I have a friend in this world. But, of course, he turns his back to his own grandson and he realizes, you know what? The only guy that ever treated me right was Stone, Agent Stone, who's a bit player in all these movies. He's really good too. I like the Dr. Robotnik's assistant Stone. I thought he was really funny in all these movies. Lee Majdoub as Agent Stone. He's great in these movies as well. I thought they had a really good, chemistry with one another. And even Jim Carrey he's like, you're the only person that ever cared about me. He's like, thank you, and of course, Dr. Eggman steers the ship away just in time and actually gets blown up with the ship. So I don't believe we'll be seeing any more Jim Carrey in these movies. They definitively killed him off. Granted, money talks. They could easily always say, oh, that was a robot duplicate of Eggman, which they've done in so many games. This game in particular with the robotic Dr. Robotniks, if you will. But I don't know. I liked this whole thing too. I thought it was really nice. I thought of the three, this one might have had the best character work when you're looking at this thing as a whole. It felt like James Gunn might have been behind this because it felt like everybody was included with this. It wasn't just one character had an arc or two. This felt like Shadow had an arc, Sonic had an arc, Eggman had an arc, Knuckles, like everyone had an arc or something to do. And I thought that was really cool with this particular movie. So I really like Sonic 3. I think it's the second best of the movies. It's arguably the best. Action sequences, again, are a step up from the first one. I think I just like the overall simplicity and pacing of the first movie, so I'd lean towards number one. But this one's a very close second. I'd come in with the same exact rating as a 7.5 out of 10. Really enjoy Sonic 3. A really good movie. Let's see where we were. I think we were here. Hayden was just an unfortunate victim of poor writing and direction. He should have landed this one. I would have been 10 times more interested if they got him to do this. Like, I would have been on cloud nine if they got him. Like, to me, that would have just been so fun. Like, you picture the thousands of memes that would have came from that. Like, you just imagine it. It would have been great. Keanu makes for an all right Shadow, but I definitely wouldn't call him my favorite. No, he's not my favorite either. He is okay. He's not bad. It's not like, oh God, Keanu just, like Dracula 92. It's not that. But it was, and I think could have been done better. I think Shadow's really well done here. Ghostface, Brett's in the house. Welcome, Brett. I would agree. I thought he was done dare I say perfect. I thought the whole thing was perfect. His action sequences, his fighting, I thought all of that was really, really good. The whole arc and turn at the end, it was really emotional. And the fact that he, you know what, I can't, if I can't destroy the world, might as well save it. That's an Eggman line in the movie, which I thought was fun. Third one had balls, really hitting the feels. The two Jim Carreys were excellent. I agree. The third one was really, really fun movie. I think all around, I really had a good time. It has a great action, great comedy. It's a really good movie. I really want to see this one eventually. I love Shadow and Sonic X, and I'm excited to see how he's done in the film. Yeah, totally. And I will say, stay for the post-credits scene. Stay for the post-credits scene. I won't spoil it unless you know the spoil. I think he'll come back for sure. I actually think he's done. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think that's it. Like, I think, like, because the second one, he wasn't definitively killed. Like, you see him fall, but did he hit the ground? Like, what happened? You could always, write your way out of that corner. This was, he blew up in the ship. Unless he was a robot, I don't see how they're writing themselves out of that one. But Shadow survived. So if Shadow survived, why not? Why the fuck not, Dr. Robotnik? Why not? So we'll see. I don't know. I would predict he's not, because I think they're going to move on to Metal Sonic, and I think Shadow will come back and maybe have some dark thoughts. That's what I think they would do with a fourth Sonic the Hedgehog movie, because, of course, at the end of this, so I'm sorry, spoiler alert. I know I just said I wasn't going to spoil it, but we see Amy in the post-credit scene, and we also see Metal Sonic, so that hints at the next villain that there's going to be. These movies are almost like the Marvel movies in that respect. Like, they always have the post-credit scene. Like, the first movie, it's Tails at the end. The second movie, it's Shadow, and this movie, it's Amy and Metal Sonic. Seriously, man, I thought the same thing in my head. Sonic 3 and Spider-Man 3 have such similar theme and lessons regarding revenge. They really do. Like, right, Sonic, obviously, Spider-Man 3, it's the death of an old man. In Sonic 3, it's the death of a young girl. And then, of course, the character's dark descent into madness, wearing black. Of course, the black Venom suit here. It's Shadow, the black Hedgehog. I mean, there are a lot of similarities when you look at it on paper. I just felt like you could have got a little bit better of acting talent to portray that. Like, I felt Keanu was a little bit stoic as Shadow. I was like, oh, man, I would have liked a little bit more emotion here. But that's just me. I love Spider-Man 3. It's underrated. It has issues, but I understand why those issues are there. I do too. I think there were too many cooks in that kitchen. I think Sam Raimi wanted to just do Sandman. They should have let him just do Sandman, but of course, the studio wanted Venom and they forced it in there. And I think that's the big problem with Spider-Man 3. It feels like Sam Raimi was trying to make one movie and the studio of Sony was trying to make another. And I think that's what really glaringly shows when you look at the Spider-Man movies that have followed it. You look at the Amazing Spider-Man 2, that movie's a fucking mess. We got Electro. We have a maybe beginning of the Sinister Six, but it's all over the fucking place. We have Blue Electro. We have the new Goblin. We have fucking, just all this nonsense. Rhino in a brief scene. Like, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 is an absolute mess. And you look at any Spider-Man movie made after the second one, it truly feels like the studio got too involved with all of them, to me. But that's just me. It's even better by the fact that the scene where Peter forgives Sandman also gives a similar vibe to Sonic and Shadow making up and understanding each other. I agree wholeheartedly. I think the same thing. Like, I think that's the beauty of that scene. It's like, now I can finally see why we do what we do. Like, I see why you fight, and I see why I fight for what I'm fighting for. It's good. I think it's really well done and well written. One of the first video games was Pong. It was released in the late 1960s, and it was sort of this ping pong. Instead of using a paddle, it's a slider. Okay. Bruce Willis was showing up in the after credits. Yep, that's the spoiler. Spoiler alert. Nice reviews. Grande. Metal Sonic is really bad news. Well, we'll see. Speaking of which, have you played Sonic X Shadow Generations yet, Grande? I played Sonic Generations, and I really like that game. I've not played Shadow Generations, although I'm very interested. I'll be honest, Sonic had a really big gap between good games for me. Like, once Sonic Heroes comes out, and there are people that don't like this movie either. But once this game came out, to me, Shadow the Hedgehog is a terrible game. Sonic the Hedgehog 06 is a terrible game. Sonic and the Secret Rings is terrible. Like, the Sonic Unleashed was terrible. Like, Sonic had such a bad run with the gaming scene for a long time, and it's unfortunate, but that's sort of where it went. Sonic Generations was one that I played and I really did enjoy, but I've been out of the Sonic video game world for quite some time now. I would love to know your thoughts on it if you have played that, because I definitely am looking into it for sure. I heard Bruce Willis is coming back as Robotnik. Oh, of course. I heard that too, Mernsy. He's going to play. Oh, I was going to make an unpolitically correct joke, but I stopped myself. I hope eventually we do see Shadows I am Shadow the Hedgehog moment. Won't spoil what that is, but it's a very awesome and emotional. I know what you're talking about. And we really might. I truly don't know. We truly might see that. I think you're onto something there. I'll put you that way. I would not rule that out of the next movie. Just like Nosferatu, Ryan, absolutely. Kubrick lover, hey, Granny, just saying hi. Sonic the Hedgehog is not my cup of tea. Hello to the chat. Welcome, my friend. Hope all's well with you. James Franco is really good in Spider-Man 3. I think he's a good actor. I know he's kind of been canceled at this point. We don't see James Franco anymore. Who do you got? Teen Titans Go versus the New Avengers. Teen Titans Go is the Antichrist. My hell is Liv Morgan's laugh followed by reruns of Teen Titans Go. That's my hell. I don't know about you. Well, there's also other things that will be in my hell, but that's definitely a big part of my hell. In Shadow Generations, somehow add more nuance to Shadow's backstory. They even made Black Doom tolerable somehow, I hear. Really? That is, very interesting, my friend. Very interesting. I'll have to look into that. I love the Shadow game, and I have a soft spot for Unleashed. Haven't played them since I was a kid. Yeah, no, like that was the time to me where Sonic was. I was like, what are they doing? It reminded me a lot of Crash Bandicoot, where Crash Bandicoot had the great trilogy of 1, 2, and 3. Like Crash 3 Warped is my favorite game ever. And then you had the party game, you had the racing game, right? Crash Bash and CTR, Crash Team Racing. And then it went to Twinsanity and the Wrath of Cortex game, which everybody didn't like, and the whole vehicle level thing and all that. And like it got away. That they tried to reinvent Crash. They tried to take Crash and work it backwards. We'll have Crash and it's an open world. Oh, we'll have Crash and it's another racing game, but it's not as fun. Oh, we'll have Crash and it'll be on the DS. We'll have, like, it's just everything they tried with Crash. It just didn't work until they finally just said, let's try to do the old formula, but make it like more modernized. And it really, really worked with Crash 4. It's About Time. I thought that was one that I was like really, really happy to see. So that's something that I really liked. Let's see people talking. Remember having Sega Game Gear back in the day. Sonic 3, what a hard game. Yes, and Sonic 3 is a lot longer than the first two Sonic games for the Sega Genesis. I remember Sonic 1, you could beat it in like an hour. Sonic 2, same thing, hour and a half maybe. Sonic 3, it was like forever because they were supposed to be two different games. It was supposed to be Sonic and Knuckles was supposed to be a part of Sonic 3, and they split it up. And of course, that's why you get Sonic and Knuckles as one game, Sonic 3 is the other. So that's what happened there. Really cool though. Definitely crazy. Thing took 6 AA batteries. Did it really? I didn't know that. No one will be offended. Kubrick. Okay. One of my favorite Crash games is the racing one. I'm not a video game guy, but I don't want to steal Grande's thunder. Oh, no worries. No one's stealing anybody's thunder, guys. No one at all. I mean, unless there's anything more you guys want to talk about here, we could. I mean, we ended a little early. Nothing wrong with a little bit earlier of an episode. Let's see. Did any of you watch the Knuckles show? Quite fun. I didn't see the Knuckles show. I've actually heard the opposite though. I've heard that the Knuckles show wasn't as good as the movies. I heard the Knuckles show is like of this era of Sonic universe, right? The Jeff Fowler era, I call it. I've heard that that's the weakest part. I haven't seen it though, so I can't say. And I like Idris. I love Knuckles. Knuckles as a kid was my favorite character. In this game especially, I would crush people with Knuckles. Absolutely love them. And I got my own socks, I swear. But yeah, no, I never checked out the Knuckles show. I might have to. It's got the Mearns stamp of approval, if you will. So always down to hear that. But yeah, no, unless you guys want to talk about anything else, I will give a brief preview of next week. And then if not, we can end the show early. So next week on Grande's Graveyard, it'll be the parody show of Grande's Graveyard, where we talk about horror's greatest parodies. Not greatest, but some horror movie parodies that we will be discussing. Of course, we have Student Bodies from 1981. We have National Lampoon's Class Reunion. We have Scary Movie. And if there's time, I wanted to review this movie, Dracula Dead and Loving It. So that's one I would like to review. If we get to it, I'll totally be there next week with that. But those first three are definitely going to be reviewed. Haven't seen Knuckles either. Do you think there's a way for Sonic 4 to top the third one? I personally don't, only because the third one did so much right. Yeah, I think in a way I would end it as a trilogy. I really would. Like, to me, this is a perfect trilogy. There's really nothing terribly wrong with it. All the stuff is really good. I don't know. I would end it at 3, but money talks. This movie made just $8 million shy of $500 million. This went up against Nosferatu, went up against Mufasa. Mufasa made 700 plus million. Nosferatu made over 100 million, and this movie still made nearly $500 million. So it came out in like the peak of movies for that end of the year. 2024 ended really hot in the ice bitter cold of December, but it still made almost $500 million. You got to keep milking these movies till you can't milk them no more. So that's how I feel with that. I don't think you could top this, though. I think that Sonic 1 and 3 are the best. Sonic 4, I'm scared without Jim Carrey will feel like it's missing something. I think if I was there, I would be like, this is going to be the last one because it feels like it'll be a step down. But I could be wrong. Maybe not. Only, great show, man. Thank you so much. Great episode, buddy. Have a great weekend. Graveyard fam. Good stream, Granny. Thank you all. Thank you all. I'm looking forward to what they do with the fourth, but I am expecting at least a decent movie. If it turns out to be as good as the first three, hell yeah, absolutely. And once again, shout out to the man of the hour, the man with the power, too sweet to be sour, the almost birthday boy. Of course, tomorrow, Anthony will have his birthday. So absolutely shout out to Anthony. Hope you have a great, great B-Day with your friends, family, whatever you're doing. I hope all goes well. And thank you so much for requesting the show because this was a lot of fun to do here tonight in Grinding's Graveyard. Like a night off, if you will. Very nice and fun to discuss with all you fine people here. So everybody, thank you so much. If you want to comment down below, wish this guy a happy birthday. Thank you so much for the review request. It was a really fun time on Grinding's Graveyard. Had a really good fun time on the show. If you're catching the replay, comment down below. Let me know what you think of the Sonic the Hedgehog trilogy. How would you rank them? How would you rate them? Let me know. Comment down below. And everybody, I hope you have the safest of happiest, healthy weekends. And we will catch you next time only on the Graveyard. Too sweet peace. Long live the greatest hedgehog ever, Sonic the Hedgehog. Good night, everybody. Cheers and happy birthday to Anthony. Bye-bye, y'all.